Welcome to rSlash Am I the Butthole, where OP beats up her own sister. Am I the butthole for telling my sister that my only regret is slapping her instead of punching her harder? I'm a 28-year-old woman, and my sister Nova, who's 30, used to be a normal person until a year ago, give or take. She entered a new group of friends and she became a life coach. She and her friends basically coach people into everything, like relationships, divinity, nature, returning to the origins, feminism, etc. They also organize retreats to Peru with their clients for 2 weeks at a time for some spiritual thing. At first, I was happy for her because this new hobby seemed really cool. It sounded interesting and she was happy. The problem is that after some time, she started to be really mean to people who don't share the same views as her. For example, she tries to convince me that my life choices aren't really actually my own, but I am in the Matrix and all my choices are induced and imposed to me by the patriarchy system. And by life choices, she means me loving to take care of how I look, going to salons, dressing up, getting my hair and my nails done. Things that I started doing since I was a teenager and that I do monthly because, hell, life is short. Earning money involves having a job, which sucks, so I believe I deserve to treat myself with my own money. But to her, it doesn't matter that I love doing all these. Somehow, it's my husband's fault, and he's the one brainwashing me to be like this. I never had any reaction to what Nova's been saying about me because it doesn't bother me, honestly. If I know that something about me isn't true, I don't feel like having to prove to you that what you claim about me is false. But yesterday, she crossed a line when she made Mom cry. She called my mom a breeder who was used by our dad to reproduce and raise kids just because she was a stay-at-home mom. For info, my mom was not a stay-at-home mom because she wanted to or because she was lazy. Mom has an autoimmune disease that periodically makes her incapable of using her hands. She can be okay today and then wake up tomorrow with her hands paralyzed. And Nova knows this. She also knows this is a big insecurity for Mom. After the debut of the disease, she had years seeing herself as useless, and Dad having to reassure her that she's not. Dad even started making candies with her at home and selling them just after to help her with her depression. So I lost it and slapped Nova, and pulled her hair a little and called her names. I know violence is bad and everything, but she was way out of line. Since last evening, she's demanding me to apologize to her, otherwise she'll report me. But me not apologizing is the hill that I'm willing to die on in this case, and I told her what I said in the title. If she can't understand that she hurt Mom, why should I care that I hurt her? There are some things you can say in this world that are universally agreed upon as fighting words. And insulting someone's mom, even if you share a mom, is fighting words. You'd think a life coach would know that. I guess I can give you 0.5 out of 5 buttholes because in general we shouldn't resort to violence, but still I'm on your side. I'm giving your sister 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for running away because my parents were late to my graduation over a Labubu? I am an 18-year-old woman. I am adopted and was adopted as a baby. My parents thought they couldn't have kids. They even tried IVF. So when my sister Princess was born, who's currently 10, it was a miracle. Everything changed. Princess was spoiled and clearly the favorite. She never got in trouble, was always right, got whatever she wanted, and acted however she wanted. My parents didn't treat me badly though, but if I got 1 toy, Princess got 5. It sucked, I was jealous, and I got in trouble for it. Princess got worse around age 6 when she realized how much she could get away with. She broke my things, hurt others, stole, and hated when anyone else had attention. I became a target. Luckily, I had friends, school, and relatives for support though, so it wasn't the worst. I did great in school and joined clubs and sports just to stay out of the house. During summer, I worked or interned just to avoid her. Now I have a car and a boyfriend that I've had since sophomore year. I stay with him a lot, and his family loves me, so I'm barely home. Maybe 24 hours at most, weekly. My parents didn't care, and this was my normal, so I stopped caring too. Anyways, graduation was last month. It was one of the few things that I asked my parents to come to. I was excited, they seemed excited, and some relatives came too. but Princess had to ruin it. See, her current obsession are these doll plush keychains called Labubus. She collects them, and that specific day, she found this super rare one for sale in our city. Now, instead of contacting the seller and buying it the next day, my parents went to go get it, and not only that, spent $350. My graduation gift was $150. Then they showed up so late that our caps were already being tossed. I was hurt. After graduation, I ignored them and went home with my boyfriend. I've basically moved in with him at this point, since anytime I went back home, it was to get my things to go back. My parents called, texted, apologized, even came over and begged me to forgive them. Worst part of all, they think it's the money and they sent me another $100. I refuse to talk to them. Now it's serious, as they're threatening to report me as a missing or a runaway and contact my future college if I don't go back home. I feel justified in my actions, and I don't think it's that serious, but am I the butthole? They're gonna try to report an 18-year-old missing? An 18-year-old runaway? That's not a runaway, that's just an adult. OP, your parents are both stupid and unfair. I'm giving them 2.5 out of 5 buttholes. You get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for expecting my ex-girlfriend to move out after she broke up with me, even though she has nowhere else to go? I'm a 27-year-old guy, and I've been with my girlfriend Megan, who's 26, for 4 years, and we've lived together for 2 of them. We live in a house that I inherited from my grandmother. Megan quit her job a while ago to pursue her master's degree full-time since her bachelor's wasn't opening any doors. I've been supporting her financially and emotionally while she's been in school. To be clear, I've never resented that. I wanted to support her goals and was proud she was pushing forward in life. Her program is intense, and she's even taking summer courses. I work full-time and also take care of the house, which means some things slip through the cracks. I cook, clean, and try to keep things in decent shape. I'm not perfect, but I genuinely don't think it's bad. I'd comfortably have friends over without worrying about the place looking or smelling off. I'm not an amazing chef, but I know my way around the kitchen. But yeah, they're mostly basic dinners. The last couple of months have been hard. Megan's stress levels have been through the roof, and tensions between us have grown. She's been unhappy with how I clean or cook, saying that I don't meet her standards. I get that she's overwhelmed, but I felt like nothing I did was ever enough. I still tried to be patient and supportive, but things hit a boiling point and we had a big argument. Megan broke up with me. It hurt, but I honestly think that it was for the best. We were clearly not making each other happy anymore, so what was the point anymore? Here's the problem. Now that we're no longer together, I think it's fair for her to move out. She doesn't agree. She says she has nowhere else to go, and that if she's forced to leave, she'll have to drop out of her program. Her mom and stepdad live the RV life, and she doesn't have friends who can take her in. She did receive a decent amount of money from her own grandmother when she passed, but she used most of it to cover her tuition. I know she wasn't blowing it, it really did go to school, but now she's tapped out and stuck. I get that this situation sucks, and I don't want to see her crash and burn, but I also don't feel like I should have to keep living with someone who broke up with me. I've already given her 45 days to figure something out, even though legally I'm only required to give her 30. She's now saying that she wants to work things out. But to me, it feels more like panic and desperation than a genuine desire to fix the relationship. I don't hate her, but I don't think it's healthy for either of us to keep living together in this limbo. So, am I the butthole for expecting her to move out after she broke up with me? Yo, she expects her ex-boyfriend to pay her rent and cook her meals and clean around the house for her while she does whatever she wants, brings other guys home into your house to bang? Yeah, right, give me a break. And also, how is OP supposed to move on and get a new girlfriend when he brings the girl home and, oh, don't mind her, that's my ex-girlfriend? Nah, man, that's not gonna fly. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. You were overly generous to give her 45 days. I'm giving your entitled, self-obsessed ex 2 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for telling a guy to shut up during a job interview? I was interviewing this guy for a very good software engineering position. He passed the first round, and both I and everyone involved in the second round really liked his resume and experience. On paper, he had everything we were looking for, and honestly, this looked like a life-changing opportunity for him. Then he shows up, very serious and not smiling at all. I'm used to that in tech interviews, and I understand it can be an intimidating environment. We did a round of introductions, and then he opened the interview by saying, "Let me tell you a little bit about myself." We said, "Okay, go for it." He started talking and talking about his personal and professional background. After about 3 minutes, I jumped in to ask a follow-up question based on something he mentioned. He replied, "I'll answer, just give me a moment," and continued talking. A coworker jumped in with another question, and he said the same thing to her. At this point, we were kinda looking at each other, but decided to let him continue and give him the benefit of the doubt. But after more than 5 minutes, I jumped in again with another question. I had to talk over him to do it. He finally paused and answered, but in such a long-winded way that he ended up veering into another topic. My coworker asked another question, and the same thing happened. At this point, I was ready to end the interview. I tried to politely wrap it up several times, but he was unable to read the room and just kept talking. I finally raised my voice slightly and said something like, "Thank you very much for sharing your background. In the interest of time, I'd like to ask if you have any questions for us." This is standard protocol and helps us prepare answers for future interviews. He asked a question about the team. As I was answering, he raised his finger and interrupted to talk more about his background. I let it go. Then he asked another question, which my coworker started to answer, but again, he spoke over her to talk about himself. I tried once more to interrupt politely, but he kept talking. At this point, I was done. I said, "John, you really have to shut up and listen." He was surprised, as was my coworker, but he finally stopped talking. I continued, "You walked into this room with a 99% chance of getting the job. Now that chance is 0. The only reason is because in less than 15 minutes, you've demonstrated that you don't have the capacity to listen at all. So I'm telling you now, you're not getting the job. But if you take anything away from this interview, let it be this. No matter how good you are technically, if you can't listen, you'll never excel in this career." He apologized and said, "Can we start again?" I replied, "You had your chance. Best of luck in your future interviews. Make sure you listen." Looking back, I know I could have handled that differently, but I still feel bad for this guy. OP, some people in life are just desperately in need of a wake-up call, and you were an alarm clock. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving the other guy also 0 out of 5 buttholes. He's not really mean, just really dumb and self-absorbed. Am I the butthole for refusing to punish my daughter after she blew up on the class clown that she didn't want at her birthday party? My daughter is 13 and she goes to a small school. Her grade only has 18 students, 10 boys and 8 girls. My daughter also has friends from the sports she does. We plan to have her go to a much larger high school in the future. Her 13th birthday party was last weekend, and I asked who she wanted to invite. She wanted to invite 7 of the girls from her class and 5 from her soccer team. The one girl she doesn't want to invite is named Kelly. My daughter does not like Kelly. Kelly is the class clown in her grade, and my daughter hides her annoyance at Kelly's attention seeking. I asked her why she didn't want Kelly there, and her response was, "She ruins school for me all the time. I don't want her to ruin my birthday." I agreed with her list and sent the invites out. My ex-wife is invited to all of my daughter's major milestones instead of doing separate events. I learned an hour before the party that my ex-wife sent an invite to Kelly since her mom found out about the party. My daughter was not happy to see Kelly. It was a surprise for her. I told my daughter to just enjoy the party. It was going well until the cake came out. My daughter wanted a glitter cake. When you blow out the candles, glitter goes everywhere. While everyone was around the cake, Kelly took her fingers and swiped icing off the top layer of the cake. It ruined the cake and my daughter lost it. She yelled at Kelly, basically saying, "What is wrong with you? This is why I didn't want you here. You ruin everything." Then my daughter ran to her room and Kelly was crying. Kelly's parent wants an apology. My ex-wife wants her to apologize as well. I'm refusing to make her do that or punish her at all. I pointed out that my ex never should have invited her, and to the mom that her child ruined the cake, and that at 12 years old, they should know better. They're calling me a butthole, and my daughter is just upset. Honestly, OP, I think forcing your daughter to apologize would be bad parenting, because that's teaching your daughter that she has to bend over backwards to accommodate other people who make her life miserable. Instead, you should be teaching your daughter to stand up for herself. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your ex-wife, the class clown, and the class clown's mom 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. That was rSlash Am I the Butthole, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.